Hello and welcome to the 2022 Data4Good Awards interview series. I'm Eric Bigeisen, Global Head of Industry Engagement at the EDM Council, and it's my honor to introduce Justine Zinkin of Neighborhood Trust, Chris Konarski of IBM, and Kush Varshney at IBM as well. Welcome, everybody. Neighborhood Trust and IBM are recognized for the exemplary use of data in Data4Good Awards category of decent work and economic growth. Their program uses data to enable real-time client interventions for financial security. Justine, Chris, Kush, congratulations to you and the Neighborhood Trust and IBM teams on your win. So could you tell us a little about your company's passion around leveraging data for the betterment of society? Maybe a good place to start.
Great. Thank you so much. We're really thrilled to be here. Neighborhood Trust is a 25-year-old nonprofit providing financial coaching and products to create worker financial security and empowerment. Today, 65% of households live paycheck to paycheck, so the likelihood of a cash flow shortfall requiring expensive debt to get by is very high. So at Neighborhood Trust, that's our focus. We ensure working families are liberated from a reliance on expensive debt in all its forms, oftentimes because of these sort of thin and unpredictable margins. And we think that better applications of our data can help workers take control of their finances, avoid predatory actors, make the most of that very hard-earned paycheck, and ultimately affect market change so that that paycheck naturally converts into savings and wealth over time.
Oh, thank you, Justine. Appreciate that.
So let me add on. So thanks, Justine. So at IBM, we take a very human-centered approach to AI, and that all data should be protected. At IBM, we put ethical principles at the core of our AI technology and foster it to be completely open, a diverse ecosystem to ensure that AI technology will really benefit the many and not just the elite few. So one of the things we do is we invest in our clients' success through our client engineering teams. And through this, we bring technology experts working with clients like Neighborhood Trust, and we innovate and co-create in days and weeks, usually under 30 days, to accelerate that time to value. AI and data are really transforming society and how businesses engage. And this is all about giving the power of prediction and automation to augment, not replace, human decision-making while removing bias. When we were using the data with Neighborhood Trust, it was really focused around transparency to explain high-impact features like the user's likelihood to being in financial distress. And part of this solution gave early access to an IBM research algorithm called ProtoDash. And we allowed the teams to identify prototypical users or users that were most representative of the Neighborhood Trust's user base. And I think what's really great is after this engagement and working on this with Neighborhood Trust, we were able to incorporate this capability into some of our future IBM products.
Great. Okay. Thank you for that. So your company has won an award for decent work and economic growth. Can you tell us more about the work in this category?
Sure, I can start. And, I'll just start from the beginning. Last fall, we worked with IBM's Data Science for Good team over the course of a few months to analyze our credit report data and our debt data alongside client bank transaction data to see if we could create predictive analytics to identify when clients are actually at risk of taking on debt so we could intervene in real time. We worked to co-create a machine learning pipeline, which has the ability to predict the likelihood of a client entering financial distress. We were able to provide IBM with key demographic and debt variables, and again, that transaction data. And, we ended up having a sort of unexpected and extremely valuable pivot in that effort around this really powerful algorithm tool, ProtoDash. And it helped point to the value, this really important value to us of segmenting our clients, and the experience of developing client prototypes that were then generalizable. So we could create client clusters who shared characteristics that then enabled us to better target our engagement, our interventions more effectively. And just to highlight a few of the ways in which this project has long-term value for our organization, we received free access to IBM's cloud and visualization software, and it enabled us to build data visualization into our operations. And our team learned new data analytics techniques, such as regression and exploratory data analysis. And this has continued to improve on our ability to run advanced data analytics and inform our own internal research, especially around how clients move from subprime credit to prime credit scores, which is a key barrier to individuals shifting from a reliance on debt to access to affordable credit, affordable capital, so critical to long-term wealth building. And finally, ProtoDash, which was initially used as an input tool, but became much more meaningful to our work than we expected. And we are really excited about the way in which this is continuing to inform our marketing strategies and our ability to design for particular client segments in a high impact way.
Thanks, Justine. So IBM's commitment has always been to help clients across the world kind of solve their biggest challenges, whether that's financial health or helping organizations become more sustainable. To narrow that kind of big data divide that exists in the social sector, this work with Neighborhood Trust really started to show data-driven insights. And in less than 6 weeks, we built, as Justine said, machine pipelines and user segmentation, really to understand the relationship between financial characteristics like bank transactions and credit reports, and to predict the probability of experiencing financial distress. Given today's market landscape that we're all living with every day, this type of insight, could not be more relevant to help people before it's too late.
And let me just add another perspective from the IBM research side. So we've actually been working with Neighborhood Trust for 5 years. So we did a project quite a number of years ago as well. And as Chris was saying, on the human-centered AI side of things, the project we did then was also using case-based reasoning, which is a way of explaining things to people. And that kind of led us to keep working on it. That led to the ProtoDash algorithm a few years ago that we then applied in this case. So, I mean, it's not a one-way street. We learn a lot from working with various partners as well in the long-term sense.
Great. Thanks, Kush, for that as well. Well, you guys are doing a lot of exciting, things, that are really making a difference. Could you tell us about your future plans to build on, your company's success and leveraging data for the betterment of society?
Sure. Last year, Neighborhood Trust launched what we call the Worker Insights Initiative. And so this aims to surface and share out our data and insights that are inherent in all aspects of our financial coaching. So we are now building a new data mining system integrated into our financial coaching, which is focused on our clients' lived experiences, their emotions around money and work, and their perspectives around the challenges that they're confronting to ensure that hard-earned paycheck converts to financial security opportunity. We're creating what we believe will be a truly sort of new and more complete, important picture of workers' financial lives. So we're expecting to harness this data and create feedback loops for financial institutions, for fintechs, for benefits providers, human resources departments, so they can design and deliver more inclusive, more productive financial solutions that promote worker financial well-being. And, I'll add that most importantly is this idea of ensuring that worker voice is at the forefront of creating, a more sort of equitable financial and economic system, and that meets the needs of all workers. So this sort of concept of worker voice being present in design and delivery of solutions, and this idea that IBM has been so much on the forefront around technology to augment that human experience is really where we're heading today.
Yeah, so Justine, I just said, IBM, we continue to work alongside with clients and partners really to try to drive that social impact. And each of them brings their own unique set of data challenges to solve together. Working with clients like you, having inspiring stories of pioneering and using advanced analytics and AI to accelerate your mission. But we see a lot of gaps still in the social sector at large. And this is around readiness, adoption, and really basic understanding of the capabilities of AI. I think this experience working with you and your team shows that we can come together and accelerate kind of the data-driven decisions and insights and incorporate things like fairness, explainability, and agility in data science to really make a difference for social good.
Okay, thank you. Data governance and data stewardship are really critical. I'm wondering if any of you could sort of comment on, how serious your C-suite and board members are when it comes to, data governance and data stewardship, and how enmeshed are they as part of your DNA of your organization?
Yeah, let me start on this one. So at its core, data stewardship is a privilege. As leaders in the tech industry, we're privileged on creating these innovations, policies, and practices that ultimately are going to benefit society. But with great responsibility comes the assurance that the technologies that we're going to deploy have to be trustworthy. They have to take into account and protect privacy, and that we're going to have that lasting impact and positive impact to the world. So transparency, data stewardship, and data governance are all built into the culture of IBM. For decades, we've presented corporate responsibility reports from diversity and inclusion and social responsibility to environmental results. And transparency has always been core to our DNA and our culture. So our longstanding values have always centered around innovation that matters for the company and the world. So this has never been more important than now, as new technologies like AI and quantum computing create kind of game-changing innovations that are unlocked by data. Justine, what's your thoughts?
Well, I will just say that we are just honored to be partnering with a corporate leader like IBM, who is modeling such good data governance as a company and taking such a leadership role in this way. We share IBM's commitment to transparency and trust. These are core values of ours. We want to ensure every day that our financial coaches can use data in a clear and transparent way. We want to ensure our clients feel ownership over their own data, feel like their own financial situation is something they understand and can change, and really sort of create that sense of agency in their finances. We always aim to do better regarding how we not only impact biases in our own data collection, but confer power to the individual who is sharing their own data. So for us, that's a key piece of this governance. But ultimately, I just want to say that the ability to work with IBM and learn from IBM on this front is just a real honor, and has had a huge impact on our culture as well as our operations.
Thanks for that feedback.
Great. Clearly data governance is, one of the key themes that we hear about, and it's hugely important as an enablement tool. But could you share some thoughts about how do you see data governance, and its impact on society over the next decade or so?
So, in this area, regulations are coming fast. There's been a number of announcements in both the US and Europe just in the last 30 days. We can't ignore data governance as it's becoming extremely crucial. And there are more enforceable regulations at the government level. We're really seeing AI change IT and business processes. This enters the area of security and threat detection and more. And we're on a point now where brands and reputations are at stake if you choose or ignore the ethical challenges that the industry is currently facing. So it's dangerous to ignore the need for good data and AI governance. In every way, AI is helping business, but it has the potential really to exacerbate existing challenges in the enterprise. If we don't take action to counter this bias, it is going to be compounded through AI and automation. So we see that the biggest changes happening here are organizations taking the steps to not only leverage the data, but also to protect it and ensure that it's trustworthy as possible. When I'm talking to clients, some of the considerations that I usually start with is, who has access to the data? What level of access? How often does this data change? How are you making decisions off this and the models? Are we tracking those changes? So there's an immense need for good data hygiene and governance, and it's business critical and socially responsible. And at IBM, we've taken it a priority to develop technologies that automate these elements into our products.
And data governance, I think, is just a narrow part of the overall picture. So we should really be talking about AI governance in the entire life cycle, from starting with data to the model development, validation, deployment, and continuous monitoring. And we just released a product actually in the AI governance space. So it's something, again, we perfect by working with partners like Justine and Neighborhood Trust. And really the feedback that we get from the lived experiences plays a strong role in how we develop our technologies.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks, Kush. And I'll just add to that in terms of sort of the lived experience we see is that, for us, almost all of our clients are workers of color, given the sort of the history of racism in the labor market and banking. And so for us, that the need to apply a race equity lens to data is really critical. And this idea of, ensuring that algorithms, not getting away with, a bias that becomes sort of baked in is really, really critical. Looking at how sort of racist bias may end up being incorporated into an algorithm is something of great concern to us. So we're really grateful to IBM in terms of its governance practices and its examination of AI governance, because we do believe this will be such an important piece of the puzzle. And again, that sort of iterative opportunity in terms of IBM testing things out with us and working with us to sort of see the sort of lived experience that comes from the data tools they're developing, I think is a really exciting model for the fields.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. I guess we're going to try to wrap up soon, but would like to ask, are there any other questions or thoughts you might have regarding your achievement for the 2022 Data4Good Award?
Well, I can just close by saying that we, really do want to thank Chris and Kush and the whole IBM team for their partnership and generosity. Their expertise has really helped us invest in our data and analytical capabilities that'll have, dividends for years to come. And we're really dedicated to ensuring that trusted human guidance is a part of financial services at scale. And with IBM's help and inspiration, we're really going to, ensure that technology, again, becomes that tool for augmenting that human experience. But again, I think a theme of this conversation has been the power of co-creation. We were so, grateful to be able to co-create something with IBM. And, IBM is a powerful company, but also a extremely humble one. And we were really excited that they were so interested in leveraging our expertise, our deep knowledge of working families today alongside their technical expertise, which I think really created, a really powerful outcome and set the stage for future collaboration. Thank you.
Yeah, and as Justine said, today's IBM, we're all about co-creating with clients to solve business challenges leveraging technology. And I think this project really showed that between IBM Research, our client engineering team, and Neighborhood Trust, we could evaluate new technologies and using real world data and then providing that feedback to our product teams to incorporate it for better products as we scale and commercialize, making our products more accessible to small teams with big goals like Neighborhood Trust. Allows them to take the benefits of new technologies that companies like IBM are developing. So I truly think this was a great example of a partnership for an important cause.
Fantastic. Thank you all for your comments. Justine, Chris, Kush, once again, on behalf of the CDO Magazine and the EDM Council, congratulations to you and to Neighborhood Trust and IBM teams for winning this the 2002 Data4Good Award. It's a real honor, and hearing what you're describing and how you're working together collaboratively as partners in solving some pretty challenging issues of our time is really truly wonderful. So I think your efforts to work together, to work on some big societal issues is critically important, and hopefully you'll collaborate further in the future, and we'll also find other use cases out in the marketplace. So thank you. Please visit CDO Magazine for additional interviews and other award winners, and I'd like to thank everybody for joining today. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.